So this morning, pretty much what we're going to do is we are going to start doing a design of our new of the C5. So the C5 is a different type of vehicle, and from being a different type of vehicle, it ends up having a different look to it. So what we're going to do is we are going to take this design here and we're going to upgrade it because we're currently on a generation 4 transmission. So we need to upgrade it to the generation 5 6-speed transmission. So this is going to be on the model the TTS4, but for this time around what we're going to do is we are going to send it over and make sure that it is of a different type. So currently this is the look of the vehicle. So we're going to change it overall to make sure that it is distinctive. So I played around a little bit yesterday with the design and I posted it on Twitter and I posted it to Steam. So this is the current look of it. So we are going to change just a few different things because this vehicle has had pretty much kind of the same look. And the wheels and the tires kind of look the same as before, which was pretty much a problem because we had actually utilized this for the updated test that we ended up doing. But since that did not work out, now what we're doing is we're going to try to design this whereas it fits more with the ethos of Emerson Motors. So that's the first change. So the first change is that we definitely needed to make sure that the wheels and the vehicle were pretty much the same or had the same kind of look. So I know that we're going to utilize the concepts information, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that that falls in line with the updated information. Or the updated look. So when you've been playing Gear City for as long as I have, it it has a different kind of look for it. It has a different type of feeling. Um, Most of these designs don't necessarily just seem like they're uninspired, which they are. They just feel more grounded in the approach. So that's pretty much the same type of feeling or the same type of design that I want to mimic here. And I remember when I first started utilizing this, or when I first got introduced to this game, it was back in, oh, jeez. It was back in 19, no, 20, 2000. This guy that I knew, his name was Larry, and we worked together down at the Renaissance Center in Detroit. And when he left the Renaissance Center, he ended up working for General Motors out in Pontiac. And when he was working out in Pontiac, when he got laid off from there, then he ended up calling me up one day and he said, I want you to take a look at this game. And I said, okay. And so I came by and I looked at it, and the game followed this. It didn't show me a lot of it, but he was explaining exactly kind of what it was. But then he told me, like, one day, he said, um, um, one day when we left from CleanNet or whatever, he was like, eventually they're going to having you working for free. But then I went by to, once I purchased the game for myself, then we went over there and and I visited the house that he had purchased after his relationship or whatever. And his vehicle was badly damaged. And I knocked on the door and nobody answered. So here we are. So I want to take this to a different level. So generally, I'm gonna change some of the light signatures on the vehicle. So I pretty much started customizing or figuring out some of the light fixtures on the vehicles, and I realized that most of the other parts, I can kind of develop different light signatures, which started becoming really fun. So we're going to add a little bit of pizzazz to the light fixtures. And also incorporate it into some of the lighting signatures. So this look isn't going to be as dramatic as the concept, but we're going to look to have a little fun with this while I'm out of school. It doesn't look like my classes start until my classes do not start until February or January of next year. And since I already graduated from the Masters of Management and I have my degree, they sent it in the mail, but I haven't opened it up yet because there is a little bit of a controversy there. So instead of going as far as we did with the concept, we're going to kind of just lighten this up just a little bit. But I did like the lighting signatures for And I first started experimenting with those lighting signatures back when I was redesigning the Odin during the updated series. So let's see how far we're going to get with this one. And it's not going to utilize the exact same lighting fixtures, but this is going to be more streamlined because I didn't necessarily like the way that everything looked. But we are going to take some of the design cues and utilize those to give us more of a streamlined look. So we're going to tone down some of the drama that we had with this vehicle before. So make things not as extreme as they were before. So change the mirrors a little bit, make it look, give it just a different look. So push the mirrors out just a little bit. And these annotated or these door handles that don't necessarily fit for the time. So I'm going to make sure that we change those and give it more of an updated look. So this is pretty much our design, and it's pretty much in line with what we have, but we didn't want to go too far. Primarily because Because in my mind, I didn't want to alienate when it comes to design most of the other or the customers or anything like that. And I know that this is a game, but um, to last as long as I have lasted in this game, I wanted to make sure that I engulfed myself into the situation so that I have a better understanding of just the capabilities of this game. So this is our finished product. Not as extreme as the concept, but borderline. So pretty much this is actually more in line with what I was looking for or what I kind of envisioned. And when I actually send out information, it's totally different. It's in a different, well, it's in my parents' room. So I try to make sure that what I do for this game, because that's actually the computer that I use for going to school. But I purchased it with my own money prior to going to school. And just like all of this stuff here I purchased before I went to school. The only thing that I have purchased while in school pretty much was food. Everything else I've purchased before when I worked for the city of Detroit in the Department of Transportation. And I left there on an LOA, and it's a whole nother story. But anyway, I know that they will probably um, make sure that nobody watches this, like they've made sure that nobody watches anything else or whatever, just because I end up using too much of this right here. But that's fine. There's nothing that I can do about that. So this is pretty much the design that I came up with. So this is going to be the 2020 Emerson Performance. But it's not going to be the 509 or 506R. We're going to stick with the same name. So this is going to be the new TTS4.